3. Creepy true. Wilderness encounters, abandoned lookout, footprints at the shore, the knock that wasn't police. Subscribe, like, and drop your theory, because tonight's story doesn't end where you think it does. At 2:13 a.m., the metal ladder on the old fire lookout began to creak. One step, then another. The wind was dead. The dark was heavy. The hiker inside the wooden room held his breath. He had seen a torch moving in the trees an hour before, an orange flicker that didn't look like any flashlight. He thought the person had gone. He was wrong. The steps grew faster, like someone rushing the last meters. He grabbed his backpack and slid toward the doorway, heart thudding hard enough to shake his teeth. Then the creak stopped. Silence. He peered over the edge. No one on the ladder. That's when footsteps sprinted across the catwalk behind him. 2 counties away, wet sand held a perfect row of barefoot prints at a lakeshore that had never shown prints before. The camper who found them had been alone for 2 days. He had walked the same circle around the water 3 times. No one else was out there. But the prints were fresh, deep at the toes, standing still at the edge as if someone had watched him for a long time. When night came, a man and a woman stood just outside his firelight. They did not talk. The woman ran first. The man turned without a word and disappeared into the trees. Later, on his hike out, soft running feet paced him on both sides, then went quiet again. Bare soles on leaves. And on a forest road in a storm, a young woman inside a small camper van heard a heavy knock on the sliding door. A voice said, "Sheriff's Department, open up." She did not open. The voice said it again. She lifted the shade a finger's width and saw the shape of a man in the rain. No badge, no hat, no cruiser lights, no partner. She jumped into the driver's seat, turned toss, he key, and the shape lunged. 2 sets of feet pounded toward the door as the van's tires spun and found grip. She drove blind through water and mud until the trees thinned and the road opened. The county later said no deputies were in those woods that night. 3 calls to 911. 3 reports filed before dawn. 1 detail echoed in all 3. A number. The last 4 digits were the same. But none of the victims had called it, and none of them knew it. The number had called them. This is how the story really began. The first report landed with Deputy Sloan just after 3 a.m. The hiker from the abandoned lookout met him at a gas station on the highway. The kid's hands shook while he spoke, but his details were clear. He had seen an orange flickering light move through the trees. Later, someone climbed. Later still, someone ran the catwalk behind him. He fled down the ladder. He followed his GPS out. In the parking lot, he saw a dark sedan drift past. Slow and low, no plates in the frame. He thought it was a dream until he noticed the smear of wood dust on his sleeve from the lookout railing. Sloan wrote it all down. Then the dispatcher's screen lit up with the second report from the lake. The lake camper showed Sloan the prints at first light. Narrow, deep and clean on the damp edge of sand where no waves had washed them yet. 1 set pointed toward the water. 1 set pointed back into the trees. There were no boot marks around them. No drag marks. No dog prints. "They watched me," the camper said, voice small. "I think they watched me for hours." Sloan photographed the prints with a yardstick for scale. He took a cast of 1 heel before the wind got up and pushed grit over everything. The 3rd case reached him by noon. The woman in the van gave him a simple story with simple facts. A knock, a voice. The wrong voice. She had a habit that saved her. She kept her phone on video when she was scared. The clip was messy and loud with rain, but the sound was clear enough. The voice outside said the same sentence 3 different ways. The last time, it used her name. She had never said her name. Sloan sent the audio to the lab for a quick pass. He pulled tower pings near the lake and the road for the hours after midnight. He asked for patrol cars to drive the fire lookout access road in the daylight, to look for tire tracks or footprints below the ladder. He was not sure what tied these three scenes together until he checked the call logs. The hiker had missed a call at 9:42 p.m. from an unknown number while he cooked on his camping stove. The camper at the lake had gotten a one-ring call at 5:06 p.m. and assumed it was spam. The van dweller had a blocked call at 11:38 p.m. and a second one at 12:02 a.m. from a number she did not know. Sloan wrote the last 4 digits down 4 times. They matched. He followed the digits through the system. One hit came back from a pizza place 3 counties over, 6 weeks old. A fake delivery order placed to a house under surveillance. Another hit came from a prepaid SIM registered with no name at a highway gas station. Same last 4 digits. Sloan printed the pages and laid them side by side. Ladder, lake, van, and a number that moved like a shadow between them. By late afternoon, a ranger from the lookout called Sloan back. They had hiked to the tower and found a plastic cable tie hanging under the catwalk, cut clean through. On the floor inside the one-room hut, near the broken desk, they found a small strip of orange fabric like the edge of a work glove. On the inside of the doorframe, someone had pressed a thumb into a patch of soft rot. The print was partial, but strong. Sloan took a breath he had been holding since sunrise. He drove to the station. The lab pinged. They had cleaned the storm video and pulled a few clear consonants from the voice. Then they matched a phrase. The same voice had been recorded on a customer service line for a small company 2 towns over. The call had been to ask about delivery schedules. Sloan called the ranger once more. "One more thing," the ranger said. "We found a note tucked under a loose board on the catwalk. Handwritten. It has a time and a place, and a phone number." "Read it," Sloan said. The ranger read the last 4 digits out loud. They matched again, and the time stamped on the note was tonight, 9:00 p.m., at a pull-off near the lake. Sloan closed his eyes, then grabbed his keys. The clock on the wall said 8:11 p.m. The storm would be back by 9. He didn't see the dark sedan glide past the station window as he left. At 9:02 p.m., thunder rolled over the lake as a phone began to ring in the dark. It wasn't Sloan's radio. It wasn't the cruiser. The sound came from the shoreline itself. 4 crisp beeps and a buzz. Those same last 4 digits flashing on a cracked screen taped under the boardwalk rail. He ripped the phone free just as headlights floated out of the trees on the far side of the pull-off. A dark sedan idled with no plates, no dome light, windows black. The driver didn't move. The phone in Sloan's hand stopped ringing and lit again. Auto redial, steady as rain. "Unit 3, hold the road," Sloan said into his mic. "No lights." A second phone rang to his left. He found it strapped under the picnic bench, still warm, still buzzing. The storm wind pressed the lake into small, sharp waves. He scanned the mud. Fresh prints, bare heels, toes driven deep at the edge, turning back to the trees. No shoe treads near them. Whoever made them had stopped and watched the water again, the way the camper said. The sedan rolled forward half a car length, then stopped. The driver's window slid down. No face, only dark. A voice came out, calm, level, like he was ordering coffee. "You're late, deputy." Sloan felt the small hairs rise along his forearms. He stepped to cover, the phone still buzzing in his fist, and raised his flashlight just off the window line, so the beam wouldn't become a target. "Hands on the wheel," he said. "Now." The voice didn't change. "Sheriff's Department, open up." The exact phrase from the storm video. Same cadence, same pause on department. Sloan understood then. The voice was a recording played from a phone inside the car, not a man talking. A trick to freeze people at doors. A trick to make them listen. "Unit 4, drift left," Sloan whispered. "On my mark." Something thumped behind him. He spun, a third phone taped to the back of the information scene. Gian had begun to vibrate, screen lighting with the same number. Multiple devices, same line, on timers. The person who set them had planned the soundscape, ringing to drown the approach, ringing to pull attention away. A lock snicked on the sedan. The rear door opened a few centimeters. Sloan raised his weapon. Rain hissed through the trees. Then he saw the hand, gloved orange fabric frayed at the edge, reach out and hook the door with 2 fingers, as if measuring distance. "Hands where I can see them," Sloan called, calm, duty steadying his breath. "Step out. Empty hands. Now." The door paused, opened wider. A man slid into the light. Medium build, cap low, utility jacket clean despite the mud. He kept his hands up, palms forward. No badge, no gear, no partner. His eyes flicked at the phones in Sloan's fist, as if counting them. "I'm unarmed," he said. "And the barefoot prints?" Sloan asked. "Not mine." Sloan nodded once toward Unit 4. Movement flickered at the edge of the lot. Another deputy ghosting through the pines, low and slow. The man saw it too. His jaw tightened. He took 1 step back toward the open rear door. "Stop," Sloan said. The man did not stop. He cut left fast, not toward the driver's seat, but to the rear bumper, where a strip of plastic had been snapped and re-snapped many times. Sloan lunged. The man's fingers found a small device taped under the trunk lip and pressed it. Every hidden phone began to ring at once. The sound filled the clearing, a chorus of the same number calling, layered on itself until direction was lost. Sloan went through the noise. He hit the man at the shoulder, turned him, and drove him to the gravel. The cap fell. Rain slapped their faces. Unit 4 was there in a second, cuff ratcheting over the glove. The man tried to twist free, but the ground took his balance. In the flashing light from the responding units, his face was plain and forgettable, the kind you'd pass in a hardware store and never think about again. They cleared the car. Empty back seat, a backpack with prepaid SIM cards, a portable speaker wired to a phone. "Sheriff's Department, open up." Cued on loop. In the trunk, under a folded tarp, they found a roll of adhesive tape, 2 cheap cameras, a coil of nylon cord, and a clipboard with 3 clipped pages. The lookout ladder, the lake shore, the forest road. Each page had a hand-drawn map and a time window. Each had the same 4 digits circled in ink. "Where are the others?" Sloan asked. "No others," the man said, but his eyes shifted in that small, doomed way people look when the word alone is a lie. A ranger unit arrived with a cast of the thumbprint from the lookout's rotten doorframe. The lab called in minutes later. Partial match to a prior arrest for trespassing on utility property. The orange glove thread matched the strip found in the hut. The cheap cameras held test footage of the picnic area and the boardwalk, recordings of parked cars, of hands knocking on doors in the rain. The dates lined up. 6 weeks of scouting, 3 Niji, HTS of trials, all moving toward this pull-off at 9. The victims came in to give statements. The hiker's voice steadied when he saw the cars and the lights, and the way the cuffs looked solid on the man's wrists. The lake camper stood a long time at the edge of the water and didn't speak. The van dweller recorded the taillights in the lot as proof to herself that help had arrived. None of them wanted to see the binder. All of them gave the same 4 digits. By dawn, the rain ran off the road in clean sheets. Evidence techs mapped the hidden phones and pulled the call logs. A pattern emerged. The number everyone saw wasn't owned by the man at all. It belonged to a web service that could route a call to many devices at once, so the sound came from everywhere at the same time. The prepaid SIMs had been bought along the interstate in 4 different counties. The plan was simple. Scout isolated places, seed them with ringing, use recorded authority to get a door open, then strike when fear made people stand still. In the interview room, the man finally spoke past the one-word answers. He said he liked quiet. He said he liked training response. He said he wanted to see who would freeze and who would run. When asked if he ever worked alone, he said nothing at all. At 7:36 a.m., while Sloan typed the affidavit, A phone began to ring inside the evidence locker. Not one of the devices from the lake. Another. Timed. Hidden in the lining of the backpack. Missed on the first sweep. The same 4 digits flashed again. The sound was small and ordinary, the kind people ignore in supermarkets and offices every day. It rang 5 times and stopped. Then, across the hall, in an empty interview room, a second phone buzzed from inside a chair cushion. The cushion had been slit carefully and stitched again. Sloane stared through the glass at the man in the utility jacket, now silent, hands folded, eyes at peace. The chorus could start anywhere. It could move to any room, any road, any door. If this story got under your skin, remember, there are more numbers out there than names. Stay sharp, stay safe, and if you want the next case as soon as it breaks, you know what to do.